Hi, my name is Ann-Sofie Forsberg and I am the product manager in Nidacon. I will now give you a presentation of all the products that Nidacon have. Nidacon was started for about 25 years ago by Dr. Paul Holmes, and the first product was Pure Sperm 100. It's still our flagship and it has its own unique raw material. The silane coated silica is produced only for Nidacon. It's a simple methodology. It's very flexible. You can make up your own gradient preparations with your own concentrations. You will have an excellent sperm recovery, motility and survival rate. You have a long shelf life of 24 months and you can store it in room temperature until the bottle is opened. Pure Sperm buffer is used for dilution of Pure Sperm 100, and it's specifically designed and balanced to match Pure Sperm 100. You don't need any equilibration before use, only make it up to room temperature. You have the same long shelf life of 24 months and also storage in room temperature until you have opened it. If you have a very viscous sample, you can use the Pure Sperm buffer to make it less viscous. You only dilute your sample with the buffer 1 to 3 and put it in the incubator for about 15 to 30 minutes. Mix and it's ready to use. You can also use our ready-to-use solutions, Pure Sperm 40, 80 and 90. And then you use 40, 80 together or 40, 90 together. And if you are used to using 45, 90, 40, 90 will give you exactly the same result. These ready-to-use solutions will minimize the sources of mistakes. It will save you time since they are ready to use. And you will have the same long shelf life as you have for Pure Sperm 100. It's 24 months. And if you compare the two, 40-80 versus 40-90, there is a slight difference. If you use the 40-80, you will have a higher yield compared to the 40-90. And if you use the 40-90, you will have a higher percentage of motile sperm after preparation compared to 40-80. So we recommend that you use the 40-80 when you want the higher yield, like for inseminations, and you use the 40-90 for standard IVF or ICSI. The contents in these products, Pure Sperm 100, 90, 80 and 40 and buffer, are almost the same. There is a slight difference, of course, between the Pure Sperm 100 and the ready-to-use solutions, but that is made up by the Pure Sperm buffer. If you want to make life even easier, you can use the Pure Sperm Speedy Kit. Then you have 10 tubes with Pure Sperm 80 and 10 tubes with the Pure Sperm Wash. If you have a smaller lab, and maybe are not so used to the lab work, the Pure Sperm Speedy Kit is the perfect thing to use. It will make the gradient preparation even easier. You have 10 tubes with the Pure Sperm Unilayer and 10 tubes with the Pure Sperm Wash. So you only put sample on the Unilayer and do the preparation. So it's very easy. And it's a 10-patient kit, and you have also a long shelf life of this, 12 months. For the washing after the gradient, we recommend Pure Sperm Wash, also long shelf life, and this is specially formulated to make the viability and fertilizing capability of the sperm after the gradient as good as possible. And Pure Sperm Wash can also be used for swim up, even if we recommend the density gradient. Now I'm going to show you how it looks before and after the preparation. Okay, so what does it look like when you use the density gradient preparation? This is the sample before the preparation, and as you can see, there's a lot of things that we don't want in the final preparation. A lot of different cells and immotile sperm. And after we have done the centrifugation, you can find this in the top layer. So this is basically only seminal fluid. There's a few sperm and some other cells, but not very much. In the first draft, between the sperm sample and the 40 layer, you find some sperm, but also a lot of other cells. And then in the 40 layer, you see there's also some sperm, but it's not very motile sperm, and some cells that you don't want. And then the raft between the 40 and 80 layer, or the 40-90, but depending on what you're using. You can find quite a lot of sperm, but the motility is quite low, so it's nothing that you want to use. And it is important when you make up the gradient that you do it slowly in order to keep these rafts between the layers, because that is the place where you can find a lot of things after the centrifugation. So the final pellet, after it's been washed, this is the part just above the pellet. And here you can find some motile sperm, but you can also find quite a lot of dead sperm. And therefore it's important when you take the pellet, take only the pellet and nothing else. So then we have the pellet, and it's been washed using pure sperm wash. And this is the final preparation. A lot of very good motile sperm and no other cells, debris or anything. As I mentioned before, we recommend using the gradient centrifugation for the preparation of sperm. And the reason for that is that it gives so much higher yield. If you see this comparison, we have used the 4080 and compare it with the swim up. You can see that the yield is almost twice. You will get a high motility using the swim up, but since the yield is so much higher, it's definitely the gradient centrifugation that we recommend for preparation of sperm. And also, what does the sperm look like after the preparation? If you compare the swim up with the gradient, this is a study done by Dennis Sackers in 2000, where he compared the density gradient centrifugation to the swim up and looking at the chromatin. You can also find a difference between using a density gradient centrifugation and the swim up when you look at the chromatin and the nuclear DNA anomalies. This was proven by Dennis Sackers in a report he presented in 2000. And if you look at the swim up and the pure sperm, you can see that the initial sample and the final preparation, when you're looking at swim up, is almost the same. But with the gradient, the final preparation has a much lower number compared to the initial sample. In 2010, a study from Thailand was presented where they had studied the effects of 3 different semen preparation media. They compared pure sperm to Sil Select from FertiPro and Sperm Grad from Vitrolife. And as you can see in the table, pure sperm and Sil Select had the lowest DNA damage. Pure sperm had the highest percentage of motile sperm and also the highest percentage of progressive motile sperm. If you have an infected sample, or if you suspect that you have an infected sample, you can use the Pro insert, because this takes away the risk of recontamination of the pellet. Because there is a risk if you have an infected sample, and when you go down with your pipette and you take your pellet, you can get some of the parts on your pipette and transfer it to the washing tube. With the Pro insert, you don't have this. And it also enables everyone to make a good gradient. It's easier to make the gradient, and you actually save time using it. So how do you use the Pro insert? This is the normal gradient, and this is the gradient using the Pro insert. So the insert is inside the tube here. You put your pure sperm 80 or 90 through here first. It will slowly go down through this hole, and then you put the second layer on top as well, and it will also go slowly. So it's very easy to make the gradient. And then you put your sample the same way through here. You do the centrifugation just as normal, and then when you're going to take the pellet, you take this micropipette and it goes down through the central channel here and takes up the pellet. So there's no risk that you recontaminate on the way up. So that was everything for the density gradient. And now to the freezing of sperm. For the freezing of sperm, we have this product, Sperm Cryoprotect. It's a product containing glycerol, and you can use it for both gradient prepared sperm and unprocessed ejaculates, even though we recommend that you use it on gradient prepared sperm because it will give you a better result. Long shelf life, as all our products have, no serum albumin, and you can also store this in room temperature until you have opened it. We also have a product called the Cryo Floater, and this is something that we use in the method that we recommend for using Sperm Cryoprotect. We discovered that the height above the liquid nitrogen does have an influence on the result. So therefore, we made several tests, and we came up with this Cryo Floater, where you have the correct and the constant height above the nitrogen surface, and thereby will give you the best possible results. And this is available both for straws and for vials. So what is the difference between doing the preparation before freezing or doing it after? As I mentioned, we do recommend doing the preparation before freezing the sperm. And the reason is that, as you can see, the percentage of motile sperm is more or less the same, but the number of motile sperm that you receive when you do the preparation before freezing is so much higher. So that's the reason for recommending preparation before freezing. For staining of vitality, you can use the sperm vital stain. It's a one-step staining method, and it's based on eosine and nigrosine, where eosine stains the damaged, the dead sperm, and nigrosine provides the background. It's a long shelf life of 24 months, and you store it at room temperature at all times. Then we also have some products for the embryo side, and one of them is Nide oil. As you know, oil is one of the most sensitive products that we use in the embryo lab, and it's very important that it's a safe product to use. We do a lot of testing on the oil every batch, so it's tested for mouse embryo acids, peroxides, and everything to make sure that we have a safe batch. We pack it in amber bottles to make sure that it's not affected by light. The bottles are very easy to handle and also a very long shelf life. There was a study presented by Dr. Seifer in Paris a couple of years ago where he compared 4 different oils. And as you can see in this graph, the Nidacon oil had a high clinical pregnancy rate and also a high implantation rates. So you can say that it's safe to use with all embryo media. Sperm catch is also another product on the embryo side, and this is used when performing ICSI. It's a natural alternative to PVP since it contains hyaluronic acid instead of the PVP, and you have the same long shelf life of 12 months. And several studies have shown that you will get the same results or better results when you use sperm catch compared to the PVP. We also have vitrification media for blastocysts called Vitroblast and Thermoblast. Vitroblast and Thermoblast were developed together with Livio Fertility Center here in Gothenburg, and they have been using it since 2005. It gives a very high survival rate after warming and also a high pregnancy rate. The clinic has also presented a study on a follow-up study on born children after vitrification. The products are FDA cleared and they are soon to be CE marked. So why use Nidacon products? Well, all the products are very stable. They have a very high performance rate. You have a long shelf life on all of them, up to 2 years. We do all the transportation, and you can store all products in room temperature before you have opened them. And you have the same shelf life after opening. You have to store them in the fridge after they've been opened, but the same shelf life applies even after opening. We have quick deliveries and quick support. You can always email me or someone else at Nidacon if you have questions. We do quite a lot of quality testing. Most of the tests are done in-house. We also work together with companies like Embryo Tools. Embryo Tools are based in Barcelona, and they do all our mouse embryo assay testing. For all our customers, we have something that we call tips and tricks. Most of the time, small tricks of things that you can think about when you're in the lab, how to do the gradient, what things to use, the things that you can't find in different papers. So these are sent out every month. And we also have the technical manual where you will find all the instructions for use and other information about the products that might be useful. Thank you.